MARPOL Maritime Pollution. MARPOL has got 6 annexes. Individual annexes are required for individual type of pollution. Annex 1 is for oil pollution. It deals with the construction requirement and criteria for specifically for ships containing oil, fuel oil and cargo oil. Mostly for oil tanker it must be double hulled. It also involves a SOPEP, Shipboard Oil Pollution Emergency Plan, ORB, Oil Record Book, IOPP Certificate, International Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate, bunkering criteria requirement, pre and post bunkering procedures, discharge criteria, and equipment involved during discharge. Annex 2 deals with the noxious liquid in bulk. It deals with the carriage and discharge as well as categorizing hazardous substances and their rules and regulation. Chapter 3 deals with dangerous substances in package form. It mainly has a IMDG code, IBC code followed for packaging, labeling and stowing of dangerous cargo. Chapter 4 deals with sewage, the discharge criteria and equipment required. Chapter 5 deals with the garbage. It defines the type of garbage, disposal procedures, and GRB, Garbage Record Book, and GMP, Garbage Management Plan, along with the certificate and the documentations. And Chapter 6 is about air pollution, as safety measures such as SEEMP, Shipboard Energy Efficiency Management Plan to reduce pollution, sulfur limiting in the fuel oil, NOx file, and SCR Selective Catalytic Reducer, GHG greenhouse gases, O3 substances, ozone substances, and IAPP certificate International Air Pollution Prevention. Let's go in detail in this video about Annex 1 for oil pollution, starting with SOPEP. It is a shipboard oil pollution emergency plan. The context of this plan includes IMO number, flag state, vessel, and owner name. For oil tankers, it must include a diagram of the lines and pipes and the capacity of individual tanks concerned, such as fuel oil tank, lube oil tank, and cargo oil tank. Plan It is a plan of action to the emergency of such kind. Equipment used or required are shovel, sawdust, gloves, Weldon pump, buckets, oil absorbent pads, and uh, hand pump. Record keeping is done. The record of any incident is reported to the MARPOL incident oil record book. It has two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 deals with the entries made for machinery space operation, and part 2 deals with entry made for cargo and ballast operation. ORB is to be kept oil record book on board for 3 years from the last entry. For a requirement is for oil tanker above 150 GRT and other vessel above 400 GRT. Each entry made on ORB signed by officer in charge and master. Purpose of ORB is to prevent illegal discharge, regulatory compliance, operational record, equipment documentation, and legal importance in case of any mishap. Part 1 of machinery space operation deals with bunkering details such as for HFO, lube oil, and NGO, details of any spillage incident during any operation remaining on board ROB of HFO, lube oil, and marine gas oil or diesel, disposal of the sludge, discharge of the sludge and bilges via 15 ppm equipment, and automatic discharge of the machinery. Bunkering is also part of the MARPOL Annex 1. These are the procedure: pre-bunkering, during and after. Pre-bunkering, empty the tank to be bunkered to avoid mixing of different bunker oils. Tank initial sounding, develop all communication signals for emergency calls and alert, and the scupper need to be plugged. Sample collection connection needs to be placed. During continuous monitoring the hose connection, adhere to the agreed pressure and pumping rate, maintain the effective communication, availability of emergency stop, and readiness of the SOPEF and firefighting equipments. After debunkering, control depressurization of the hose, secure the hose, disconnect and empty the cleaning of the drip. Safe removals of the scupper, disconnect the bonding earthing wire, and final soundings of the tank, including with the completion of the sample and documentation. Bunkering procedure involves following the MARPOL Annex 1. The safety fittings involved during bunkering are manifold, bunker hose, emergency shutdown, vapor return line, vents, and overfill or overflow prevention. Manifold withstands high pressure and during the bunkering and has a valves, sampling point, and pressure gauge. Bunkering hose connects the manifold to the bunker bars and prevents spillage. It is made of a rubber. Emergency shutdown. It has a button or a valve provided for emergency stopping of any incident at a given condition. Valves to shut the remotely or locally. Vapor return line captures the vapor in the fuel oil tank to avoid any explosion. Vents are provided to prevent the tank in going in vacuum or overpressure conditions. Overflow prevention via alarms and high level alarms, automatic shut off valves. Remote shut off arrangement either by a button, via emergency stop button, uh, placed at a strategically important location to cut off the flow of fuel transfer in the tank, or via a automatic quick closing valve in case of emergency. ORB entry is done for bunkering. Fuel oil, lube oil, MGO entry, all are made into the bunkering for oil record book. It is used to maintain and identify ship's fuel oil consumption and detect any irregularity to avoid any incident. It is to comply with the regulations, and it is subject to PSC checks, and it is also a legal document. Oil discharge criteria. This is the important for Annex 1 of MARPOL. Outside 12 nautical miles, that is the distance from the any closest land more than 12 nautical mile, and outside of any special areas, the uh, tanker above 150 gross tonnage and any other vessel above 400 gross tonnage has the discharge criteria of pumping out the machinery spaces, oily bilges, and when the ship is en route via oily water separator filtration equipment, and must have a monitoring 15 ppm device in place. The oil originating from cargo pump room and cargo bilges must strictly not be used for discharge. Only machinery spaces oil can be used. And when the distance of 12 nautical mile inside the nearest land, then the discharge criteria is same. Discharging bilges from machinery spaces except cargo bilges and pump room bilges below 15 ppm is allowed via oily water separator filtration equipment, and a three-way switching auto switching valve arrangement should be placed so that if any condition occurs of above 15 ppm, it will switch back to the bilges holding tanks. Discharge must be logged into the oil record book, including location, coordinate, date, time, and the amount being discharged, and signed by the in charge officer and the master for PSC check. For these sludges originating from the filtration unit can be incinerated in the incinerator. If the ship doesn't have incinerator, it must be stored in a proper tank and given to the shore reception facility. IOPP, International Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate. It also is the major part of Annex 1. It is valid for 5 years and plus minus 3 months if the ship is under voyage. Content is the name of the ship, IMO number, port of registry, gross tonnage, deadweight tonnage, and the type of the ship. It has the details about the equipment which is being used for discharge system placed, fittings, and machinery involves. Equipment detail about the 15 ppm device, their monitor, oil water separator, three-way valve connection for the automatic changeover from sludge to bilge, discharge pump details, and details about the SOPEP for in case of emergency, and discharge shore connection details.